But then we heard about these kids in Canada, and that was a fun adventure. We I mean, I've never had so many kids talk about these group of dudes that did liquid, and we were intrigued, you know, and they bashed us, and were really kind of saying that liquid was invented in Canada, and it came from Toronto, and when it's really funny because, I mean, I don't remember rave starting in Toronto, but I mean, I'm sure, you know, made their way up there, and I'm not trying to be the historical Nazi about it, but I'm going to have to go ahead and decline their assumptions, and based on history and what we saw. But we, you know, again, it's the internet lets people do terrible things, terrible things, and these kids basically they bashed all of us, you know, and we were like, well, fuck it, you know, they're gonna talk all this shit, and you know, we were 400 miles away. You know, we all called each other up, and we were like, well, what are you guys doing this weekend? And everyone was like, oh, nothing. We're like, you guys want to drive to Canada? So we were like, yeah, all right. So we had a couple confidants up in Canada, and we called them up and said, you know, we're going to sneak attack, and, you know, can we meet up with you, and can you take us to the club they're going to be at, to the party they're going to be at? And they were like, yeah, sure. So, you know, we drove and tactically slid into the club, and you know, we got called, we got noticed before we got in there. I think Eric's fucking grill, you know, everyone knows Eric, so they're all like pointing at him a little bit, and we got in, and people started talking to us, and they knew we were there, and then the kids showed up, and I mean, we saw them dance, and we were kind of like, all right, well, I mean, it's like remedial, you know, I mean, and they were having fun, so that's cool with me, but it's like, you know, they were talking shit, so, you know, we had to do something about it. So we battled, we went at all of them, you know, and then what the hell was the kid's name? Clockwork? Everyone was like, you gotta see Clockwork, so Eric, you know, we were like, all right, Eric, let's put the big guys up against each other, and I mean, it was just like, you know, I don't like talking shit, but, you know, Clockwork danced, and we were kind of like, we were like a little disappointed because, you know, it was like we went up there, and that's what we got, and but we had fun going. But so he battled him and stuff, and then, I mean, it was amazing. Like, kids were like, yeah, what'd you think of him? And we were like, it's all right, you know. And it's like, it's not like it was anything forward, you know, forward moving, like, kind of stuff. I mean, it was like, you know, play with the ball, bounce the ball on the ground, and, you know, make a little ball. And I mean, it was like, it was like, you know, very, like I said, it was very remedial liquid, and however, no one could believe us. They couldn't believe us. And then they were like, well, you know, you do digits, and, you know, that's just easy. So I said, all right, well, let's do some follow the leader. So I sat down with like 3 kids, and I was like, you sure you can do this? And they were like, oh yeah, we can do it. It's easy. It's stupid, you know. They were like, it's totally stupid. So I did like very basic ones, and like they were like, oh yeah, look, we can do it. And I just started kind of getting more and more complicated, and they couldn't do it. And I was like, why are you talking shit? Like, why can't we like come up here and, you know, why do we have to come up here like this? You know, and then that was like the whole point. It was like, you guys could have just been like, you know, we really want to meet you. Like, why are you telling all of us that you invent something like this? You know, that you know, these people, like, they had this huge story about liquid and about colored gloves, meaning the rank that people had, and I mean, just this whole crazy story. Maybe they did, you know, maybe, you know, early ravers, like, it was like, you know, graffiti artists, the color socks they wore had to do with, you know, what cliques they were in, you know, that's just the way it was, apparently, and at least that's what I heard. Maybe I'm wrong, but you know, I've heard, sorry if I totally just, you know, misinterpreted graffiti artists. Our interview's rude. Yeah, interview's over. But, no, I mean, maybe that's what it was, you know, maybe they wristbands, and wristbands were like, what level dungeon master they were, I don't know. But I mean, you know, there were cool people up there. It was cool. Like, we met a bunch of people that really wanted to actually learn the stuff, and, you know, They played really good breaks downstairs, and they played happy hardcore upstairs. It was very interesting, and but it was cool. So we, met them, and like I said, there were some people that were really nice. Like the people that we went up there to meet were really nice, and it was just this clique of kids where just kind of they were very, very skewed. So there was them, and then there was like all you guys, It was like all that kind of like next generation that we, kind of learned through us and learned through just the whole culture itself, and y'all suck, but no, I'm just kidding.
True.
Yeah. No, I mean that was kind of like the next kind of step with it. There's a lot of people who either had sort of heard about it or didn't hear about it, or just started learning about it and kind of took it, for what it really was, and actually took the time to learn it and stuff. And that's kind of where it's at right now. It's kind of like a next generation of kids are documenting it and trying to like preserve it and categorize it, which is good. It's definitely good. So. Part of it was to give some credibility to what we were doing. We knew that we could talk till we were fucking blue in the face, but if we didn't document it somehow, if we didn't make it seem like we cared about it somehow, we wouldn't. It would have just kind of vanished, because the rave scene was dying. Club scenes are dying. It's hard enough to go to an event where there's more than 300 people, just because it just doesn't really exist anymore. And if it does, it's usually a really bad spot with really bad music. But yeah, I mean, we saw the culture fading because of how our government has stifled it, and we saw that happening, and it. We were fighting other cultures to understand what it is that we did. We put the video out for that reason. We wanted people that didn't know about it to know about it. We wanted other people that were learning to have some sort of a resource, because the resources we had aren't there anymore. It's just, just as a matter of fact, there's like an 16-year-old can't go somewhere and learn what liquid is. Their resources now is the internet. It's the internet, it's videos, and, older people will, I don't want to say older people, like people who have been around in it for longer will say that that's a bad resource to just have, and, I kind of agree. I mean, to just have video or just have an internet to gain your understanding of something, it goes so far, and it's a good tool, but it's unfortunate because there's not that physical interaction with the culture. You can't give words to a culture or an environment. You just can't do it. You can describe it all you want. You can be as Hemingway about it as you want. You just can't. You can't do it. You have to be there. You have to experience it. And all the new generations that will come out learning it, unless there's a resurgence, are never really going to have that experience. And that's okay. It's fine. That's why I say it's great that these resources are there, but we needed to make sure that there was at least something. We look back on the video now, we're kind of like, wow, it's like, it was meant to be basic, but then we look at like our solos and we're like, oh god, we should just take the solos off. But, that's part of it, you know what I mean?
Alright.